What's going on, YouTube? Figure I'll make a video on this 97 Ranger hooking up a LED momentary switch, or whatever you want to call it. Bought the little guy off of Amazon. Now, of course, if you bought one of these switches, you know that they don't come with instructions, so you're pretty much kind of left out in the wind and left in a blind spot. If you're not very good with electrical, don't know much about it, it helps if you got a friend or somebody that knows what they're doing when hooking this stuff up. Because if you hook it up wrong, you can catch things on fire, things can heat up and burn up, whatever, and that's the last damn thing you ever want. So if you got a friend that can help you, that'd be a lot better. And me, I don't really know a whole lot about wiring this stuff in, so I had a friend help me because I was looking all over online trying to find a deadgum wiring harness or a wire diagram to hook this thing up. So I sent what half-assed diagram to a buddy of mine, being that he does electrical for a living, and he gave me this schematic of it, and so a lot easier to wire it in now. The other thing too about this switch, like I said, it is LED, lights up, and I guess there's a couple different ways that you could wire it up where the LEDs will stay on constant, or when you hit the button the LEDs will shut off, and then when you let off the LEDs will come on, vice versa, whichever. And I was looking around on YouTube the other day because I was also trying to figure all this mess out, and somebody was going and trying to figure out maybe to hook it up to their headlights, and that's the route that I'm going to go with, because when you turn the headlights on, the LEDs down here will light up. When you shut it off, the LEDs will cut off, and whether you have it on or off, the horns will still work. So what I've done is I grabbed a tester. This is actually my buddy's. He left it over here for me to use. I've got my own, but mine don't have a sharp enough point on the end of it like his. And I was actually really lucky to get the first wire first try, which is not so common on my part. So I went ahead and probed this yellow and red wire, and that is actually for my actual headlights, not the running lights, but the headlights. So that's the wire that I'm tapped into. I used one of those blue taps. These things come in handy. They're freaking awesome. And I just ran a 16 gauge wire off of it, and I'm actually going to put that into a wire loom. I'm going to run this wire in this loom. I'm going to run it back into the dash and then back over there. Now I have my wire into the loom. If you want to know why I'm not cutting it to length right now, I will do that after I run it all through the dash, because once I run it through the dash where I want it, then I can cut off what I need and everything else. That way I'm just not wasting wire. And I'm also trying to do this as cleanly and nice as possible, because everybody knows that when you having to deal with wiring just laying everywhere, it gets very annoying. And me personally, I like to keep my wire as nice and neat as much as possible, because I don't want to have to fight with all of it later on if I ever have to mess with it. So I'm doing it this way. So now I have my wire ran through the dash, ran through there, ran across, ran through the bracket, and then down over here. So this little plug here goes to the cigarette lighter. This is what I'm going to be running my power stuff from, or I'm going to be running the switch to the power of the 12-volt cigarette lighter. Now, a couple ways you can do this. Cut the plug off, hardwire it in, but I'm not going to do that because I want to save my plug. So what I'm going to use is some spade connectors. That's one way to do it. Is it the right way? Yes and no. The proper way to do this, to tie in, is getting another connector like this that's already got the spade connectors already in it. And that way you can just attach it to the wire, plug and play, good to go. So for right now, because I don't have the other connectors, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tack on these spade connectors. And yes, they are heat shrink. So the only damn thing that I'll use is heat shrink stuff. And I will attach it to my red wire, and I will also attach it to my yellow wire. So now those are connected. All I gotta do is use my heat gun, heat shrink it on there. Now one thing is that I don't understand, and what I don't get, because usually your black wire is normally going to be ground, normally, and usually your red is going to be hot, but not in this case. The black wire is going to be for the headlight switch. The red wire is going to be for ground. Yellow wire is going to be for the 12 volt. I went ahead and put a little bit of heat shrink on the green wire, being that it's not going to be used. So that way it's not going to touch anything. If I didn't already mention it, this black wire right here is going to be your ground wire. The pink and brown looking wire is going to be your hot side. So now red is hooked into ground, yellow is hooked in to power. I was going to use these butt connectors here, male and female, because then it'd be a plug and play system. But being that it's a little bit too big for this wire here, right size for that one, because that one's a 16. I think these here like are 20 gauge. I think they're 20 gauge. But you know, it's switch, it ain't gonna draw much. But anyway, I'm gonna do it this way with a piece of heat shrink. Slide that heat shrink down real quick. So now all I do is just heat it up. Well, I kind of made a little boo-boo. I didn't leave my loom long enough like I did everything else. It's all right though. I'll attach another piece of loom on it, tape it up, it'll be all right. I just had to cut the wire back just a little bit too long. That's fine, because then I can just tug it back up in there when I get ready to. Now the white wire, of course, is now going to go to my horns. Now if you're wondering what horns, because no, it's not factory horn either. I went and got an air compressor off of Amazon, bought the kit for some train horns. I'll run through that on a whole nother separate video. I'm not going to go through that right now. Right now I'm just kind of going through with the installation of the horn switch. Alright, so I got the wire loom on, got them taped up there, and now when you turn the headlights on, it illuminates. See? Really? Fuck. It was working earlier, and now it's not working. Well, I'm gonna end up having to run a relay or something off on it. I don't know. That horn switch is supposed to be for your air horns. It's supposed to be made for it. But, you know, everything's made in China. So you can expect the shit not to work like it's supposed to. It was working great earlier. Then it quit. Then it worked again. I tore all this back apart. Maybe it was a connection or whatever issue. Well, I was getting good connection, but it's just not doing anything. So I don't know. I have no freaking clue at this point. Because I really wanted to, excuse me, I really wanted to show y'all that the damn horns work off that switch, and it does. It just has a damn mind of its own. I don't know what the hell's going on. I don't know if it's just a plug or what. I don't know what's going on with it. Alright, so I got it all wired in. Got that. Horn switch works. Earlier it wasn't working. I got to tighten that nut, which I don't know why that would have anything to do with it, but okay. But anyway, it's working. So yeah, hopefully I won't have any more issues out of it. I'll just make sure that nut's good and tight back there, and maybe, I don't know, maybe it's a loose connection back here or something. I don't know. But anyway, it's wired in now, so all I gotta do is put everything back in. Should be good. Hopefully I ain't got no issues.